Okay, so the way the presentation has been conceived, we are going to unfold the season. So we have sliced the season into different periods, and each period will be analyzed according to what it means in terms of programming the fruit maturation. So for that, let's start even before the vine wakes up, because preparing the fruit is not only one single season work, it's actually 2 seasons back to back that have a carryover impact. So for that reason, we arbitrarily set March 1st as the bud break date. It's also because scientifically, when you try to compare your own situation with what, say, is published in Chile or in Australia, this March 1st or its equivalent in the Southern Hemisphere will be the default date. So let's start with that. And first of all, let's start to see the most important things, which are how much water and how much rain did we get. So on the next slide, we are going to look at how much water gets stored before even bud break occurs. So those different lines are actually the cumulated effect of rain falling from the leaf fall of the past season up until the awakening of the plant here starting on March 1st. So you can see at the bottom the green line is actually the typical drought of 2014, which we will see has had some carryover effect all along the season. The red one is 2015, and you see at the end of the graph towards your right that the red and the gray are actually joining each other. It simply means that the total amount of water refilling the root reservoir before was similar. An important point to see is that unlike 2015 and 16, we don't have this flat line appearing and stretching for over 6 weeks. So indeed, it's one of the specific traits of 2016. We had a constant supply of water, and we'll see that has some consequences. And just to mention it, 2017 here is in dotted line. So that's for the water. What about heat accumulation? So here we use the default heat accumulation way of computing how much temperature will actually drive, speed up, or slow down the processes of plant physiology. And the big picture here is that everything is relatively similar. We see that 2016 has, at the very beginning, from November 1st to mid-December, a very fast increase. Remember, we had such a high heat that sometimes, maybe not in Napa, but in Paso Robles, we saw some regrowth after November. And then a flattening. So sure, the heat accumulation in February, January was a bit slowed down, but overall we are still following the same trends as 14 and 15, which is expected in the context of warmer temperature. So same total amount of heat accumulation and a slowdown in December. So those two considerations led us to the first take-home message of today. The vintage update will look at water, and we can say that the total amount of water is similar to 2015. The supply was steady, and there was no dry period, which may have had some consequences on the microbiological life, and we'll discuss that later on. On top of that, there was an additional 250 millimeters of rain after bud break. In terms of thermal time, this slowdown in terms of heat accumulation caused by the clouds, we had a lot of rain in December and January, induced a slightly cooler context, which is, we believe, in large part responsible for the delay in bud break due to this slowing down. The other consequences from this very quick picture is that the mineralization rate of nitrogen, which makes the nutrients immediately available for the plant, is probably high. So we will see later today if that actually translated into a more active uptake of nitrogen. The second step now, before bud break occurs, is this type of map. So those maps are interesting because they show us the skeleton of the plant even before the plant starts to break. So those maps are actually obtained by dragging a laser beam behind an ATV. And just like when you try to have your product scanned with a barcode, in this approach, the barcode is actually the number of shoots that we are scanning through these techniques. And what's nice about this technique is that it gives us a spatial definition of two very important parameters to predict vineyard productivity. The first one is shoot number per square meter, and the second one is each individual shoot section. So by having the shoot section, we can actually know the shoot diameter, and by multiplying and cumulating all the shoot diameter according to shoot number, we can actually have a quantifiable number that tells us how much square millimeter or square inches of shoot section we have per square inches of ground. So it's a way to understand how the real estate of your vineyard is actually modulated by the vintage conditions. Here you see that in that specific vineyard before bud break, we had a range of variations going from 200 square millimeter per square meter of ground up to 500 square millimeter of stem section per unit of ground area. So that has many consequences in terms of pruning decision, in terms of taming down the vine vegetative expression, in terms of predicting the yield. So at this point, what we can say is that the wood mass accumulation before bud break showed everywhere the same tendencies. We saw that if the node number had been kept the same from previous year to this year, well, on those situations, a higher diameter was found, meaning that the carryover of 2015 was actually affecting the way in which the plant could store more carbohydrates. So more carbohydrates means greater energy for a more even bud break, and also a higher potential because we have more flowers per vines and also per bunch. So we can already get an early hint in terms of the productivity potential by simply looking at the distribution of dry biomass before bud break. So at this point, I thought it was going to be relevant to invite Dr. Dodson Peterson.